everybody, this is Bruce here. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Traveling with Bruce. Please subscribe to my channel today and become a key supporter of Traveling with Bruce by clicking the Patreon link. Enjoy the video. Hey everybody, it's Bruce here with Traveling with Bruce. How's it going today? Today I have a travel story for you. A little more of a story than a travel story, but it's a travel story, and it has to do with well, my trip to Las Vegas and how I ended up having a steam bath with Tom Jones. The Tom Jones. Yeah, the singer. That guy. Yeah. Hello Pussy, or whatever, Pussycat, what was his song, you know, from Mars Attacks and everything. Loved that movie. I was in Las Vegas. This is 1986. I was 31 years old. My sister had just turned 21. And the family decided to have a little birthday reunion kind of gathering thing, and we all thought we'll meet in Vegas, and we'll help celebrate my sister's 21st birthday, because she can now officially gamble and all that good stuff in Las Vegas. And we flew down from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and ended up with about a 4-day trip, and had a lovely time. And during the trip, one of my objectives was to go to the MGM Grand Hotel and Casino, which I think today is known as Bally's, and have get a massage. I wanted to get a full body massage, and part of the deal is when you get there, you register in as a guest, and you pay for your fee for your massage, whatever, and they give you a key for a locker, and you change out, put on a robe and a couple of slippers, and my first thought was shower, and then I'm going into the steam room, and I want to get warmed up and loosened a little bit, so that when the masseuse got to me, at least he had a fighting chance to ease the tension in my joints and my muscle pains and everything else. So I thought I'd soften myself up, in other words. So I did that, and hung my little morning coat up on the hook outside the room, and you walk in with just a towel around your waist and a pair of flip-flops they give you. And I come inside this steam room, and this steam room was pretty big. It can hold, I would say this room is sort of the size of like a handball court sort of size. You know, it's like about 30 feet wide and about 20 feet high and about 20 feet deep, 30 feet deep, and it had ceramic, it looks like giant levels, like not stairs, but ceramic levels at the back of the room. So the higher up you sat, the warmer it got, because steam, of course, rises, and the heat at the top of the room is more than on the bottom. Anyway, so I come in the door, and it's very steamy, of course, because it's a steam room, and I can make out a couple of figures. There's a couple of people in the room that I can figure. There's one gentleman sort of sitting on the lower level, directly ahead of me, and then there's another gentleman a level up, but over to the other side, towards my, I guess, my left. And I like to sit on the top of the steam bath. I like to be at the top, like the heat and the humidity. So I come in and I go past the first gentleman, and I glance over at him, and I notice that he has two plastic bottles. They're 2-liter. They're like pop bottles. He has two of them, and one is green and one is clear plastic. You know, one is green and one is clear. And I found out later they're both filled with water. So he had, in effect, 4 liters of water sitting beside him in these 2 giant bottles. And I glanced at him and noticed that's Tom Jones. That's the performer, Tom Jones. He's having a steam bath. And he was sort of leaning forward and just in his own world, just his own thoughts. And I passed him. I went above and behind him, and I was at the top of the steam bath. So sitting there, and the polite Canadian that I am, I'm not bothering anybody. I'm not saying anything. I'm not making a fuss about anything, and enjoying the steam. Anyway, the other fellow, he gets up and he leaves the room, and he apparently went for a quick shower just to rinse off a little bit, cool down a bit. He came back in, and then he sat down at his same place again, and he starts talking to Tom Jones like he knows him. It's not like, oh, excuse me, sir, are you Tom Jones? Can I ask you a question? Nothing like that. He basically said, how's it going over at the Flamingo for you? And Mr. Jones, who was quite happy to talk to him, and not in any way perturbed or upset or anything like that, or thought he was being bothered or anything like that. It was kind of like, just gonna have a chat with this guy, no problem. So he said, "Oh, it's going very well. We seem to be selling out." And then he asked him, "Well, how long is the run?" And he said, "Well, I've been here for a week. I've got another week or two to go, whatever it was." And it turns out he was doing 2 shows a night, 6 nights a week, so 12 shows a week. And the first show was at, I don't know, 7 o'clock, and the second show was at 10 o'clock, something like that. I mean, this guy is working his tail off. And this would be now, how many years ago? This is 30 years ago. So he'd have been in his 40s. It was like in his mid 40s, because he's 77 now. It's 2017 now. So he's 77. And so he was like 45, 46, 47 years of age, and looked great, in shape, fit, had to have been. And so the two of them were talking, and Mr. Jones talked about how the guy asked him, "Well, what was the first casino you ever played at in Vegas? Because you've been coming here a while." And he said, "Oh yeah, I started off in Ceasars Palace." He was talking about. So I started in Caesars. That's the first time I ever played Las Vegas. And then he talked about how he met Frank Sinatra for the first time, and he met Elvis Presley, and became friends with Elvis, actually. And the musical directors he had, and the orchestras, because he was always playing in front of live orchestras. He didn't play in front of a recorded karaoke machine or anything like that. So I mean, you came to a Tom Jones performance. You came to a real show with probably 50 people backing him up, musicians. I mean, pros, top of the line professionals. This is the 80s, the 70s, the 80s, 90s. Things may have changed now. And here he is in the steam room. And so the guy was saying, are you here? Is this here part of your daily ritual? He says, "Oh yeah." He says, with the desert air being so dry, I have to come in to the steam room to loosen my vocal cords and keep them as moist as possible. And I drink a lot of water to just run liquids through to keep my vote clear. And so every few minutes he would just take a giant gulp of water, and another one. I'm sure he had to pee like a racehorse later. But it was really interesting listening to him and this gentleman converse. I didn't have to be part of the conversation. I was like the proverbial fly in the wall, watching and enjoying this, listening to this conversation the whole time, and just watching what a performer has to do when he's not on stage if he wants to be at the top of his game. And he felt that he had to be on the top of his game by doing what he was doing. He was basically taking care of his body, his voice, his one asset that he had, by being in the steam room every day religiously, to give it the best chance he could to be on his best game on stage that night. Because every night, probably 2 hours a night per show, 4 hours, you try and figure out, can you sing 2 hours? Take an hour and a half break and then sing another 2 hours, and do that 6 nights in a row, weeks at a time, and then the next gig. I mean, the glamorous side is one thing, but to watch it in real life in this setting is another. It's a real education. And I was a little over 30 years of age. I was like 30, 31. And for me, it was really neat to see this individual take his business so seriously, and what he had to do to be successful. And I could then understand, well, no wonder you're still so popular. I had heard of him in the 60s. When I was just a kid, he was already popular in the early 60s, and here we are in the mid 80s, and he was still going at it. And here we are 2017, and he's been performing up until about a year or so ago. His wife just passed away, sadly, and that took a lot out of him. And I understand that the latest tour that he's planning has been postponed, so it might be from health reasons. But he is 77, so I cut him every break there is. But what a treat! So I had a steam bath with Mr. Tom Jones in Las Vegas. And now here's the kicker to the story. Here's the ending of the story. My mother and father were along for this birthday trip for my sister, as I mentioned earlier, a family little get-together. And I had made arrangements after my massage that I would meet up with them at like 4 in the afternoon somewhere in the hotel. And my parents were there, my sister was there, my wife was there, and I came out, and they're all waiting for me, and they saw me coming, and they said, "Oh, how was your massage? You look great. Do you feel good?" I said, "Oh, fantastic! It's absolutely wonderful." And I said, "You never guess who I had a steam bath with today?" And they said, "Oh, who was in there?" And I looked at my mother and I said, "I had a steam bath with Tom Jones." And her face just lit up. Her eyes opened up. Her just, that kind of look, you know. And she says to me, "Is it true what they say about Tom Jones?" Mom, I didn't lift the towel, you know, like the guy had a towel on. You know, I didn't go up to him and say, "Hey, listen, Mr. Jones, would you mind lifting your towel? After I get my massage done, I'm going to go meet my mother in the lobby of the hotel. I'm going to give her a progress report and an update on what you look like down there." I mean, come on, you know. I said, "Mom, he had a towel on like I did. We all had a towel on. We're gentlemen, you know, hygiene and all." I said, "But he is a very nice guy, and it was a very pleasant visit, and I really enjoyed it." "Oh," she said, "that must have been something." And I think about that all these years later, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, at the time she asked me that question, I keep forgetting this, but in 1986, my mother was 40 odd years old. So she, you know, she still had a libido, you know. So it wasn't like it was over. We kids hate to think of our parents having sex, but my mom and dad were still having sex, you know, at that time. And so Tom Jones was a turn on for her, big time. She was definitely in the demographic, and it occurred to me years later, certainly at that moment too, but it's always stuck with me years later, so I got a real kick out of it, but I just love that question. Anyway, that's the story of me having a steam bath with Mr. Tom Jones in Las Vegas. True story, really happened, wonderful guy, fantastic gentleman, and I wish him all the success in the world, continued success. And God bless him. And thank you for watching my story today. Please subscribe to my channel, Traveling with Bruce. I will keep the stories coming as best I can. I hope you enjoy them, and I hope I don't bore you. And if you have the heart to go to my Patreon page and support me there, I would really appreciate it. And thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.